Thank you, everyone. So, this is the title of my discussion tonight. Just a quick short discussion. Changing Burma in new ways to help. Because we have been active and all we are doing is supporting what's going on inside Burma. Very much big actions and activism. But Burma is changing, and we kind of think about how we can do, what else can we do to have this change, or to help the country better. So these are a little bit of sections. So I'm going to talk about a little bit of background, how Burma is changing, Burma educational status, remote education, Khan Academy, and what we can do to help. So there's a reform is going on. Everybody knows. The reform we all know. And to me, being active in here more than 10 years and being hopeless every now and then has been, so empowering to see the change going on in Burma. Even though there's a lot of problems, a lot of challenges, so many abuses are continuing. Allow me to be hopeful, because I have never had such a hope in our entire life. So I think the reform going on is real, but there's so many challenges. This our speakers, Gomez and Barry Diamond, will discuss in detail. But I am hopeful, I am wishful, and I think the reform will put this country on the right directions, and all the young people and other people of this wonderful country that they deserve. So I hope and I long for the day where we all can live, Burmese and Kachins and Koreans and all the people alike, in peace and dignity, and enjoy the country in which we have the most natural resources and talented and wonderful people. So Burma is changing. Burma is doing a U-turn. So we are going to see all the wrong things that have been going on past 50 years, which cannot be cured overnight. But at the same time, there will be challenges, but at the same time, I think what's going on in there, what the people are trying there, is something that's worth supporting, worth hoping for. So, since 1962, that actually the years I was born, the military took over, a lot of things started becoming wrong. Burma used to be so prosperous. When I was young, about 8, 9, 10 years old, in a household, if a father worked, he can feed the whole family. And plenty of food. A lot of, in our villages, a lot of shrimp and fishes, and so plenty. There's a huge vast majority of middle class, which can have a very easy livelihood, used to be in 1960, even 70, even getting into 80s. But now that has changed. When I witness a country, I really know how the country has changed. There's only two things I can see. People who are so rich. Some of their friends who are engineers, they do the business, more or less they have to work with the regime, more or less. There's no business person in Burma who can deal with the regime, or who can negotiate with regime, or who drive the regime, officials. But they have become so rich. I'm talking about in millions, US dollars. They have like couple of hundred people easily, they have factories, they have about 10 managers, and all the manager has cars. Talking about some of my friends. But compared to some, the real cronies who are talking about billions in the revenues that they are working. So there's some people become so rich, but the vast majority of middle class is totally disappeared, including my own family and friends and parents. These are struggling, just struggling to survive. So there is no middle class. The country without middle class, without resourceful, able, educated, willing middle class, our country will never be able to stand on its own feet. So one thing came to my mind, how can we help build middle class while the country is in such a transition, transforming? So that's the reason I went back to Burma. I try to talk to people and think about how we as an activist, we as a people living here, we as an educated person who left Burma, how can we help? So there's no more middle class in Burma, they become poor. So Dawn San Suu Kyi was here last September at the USF. She said one thing which struck me and which I agree. Everyone in Burma younger than 50 is considered not educated, uneducated. I'm not insulting the people, but that is the reality. That's what Aung San Suu Kyi said. That's what it is. Because things have been going wrong in Burma for first 50 years. So what it means, in Burma, retirement age is 60. Someone is retired when he or she becomes 60. So what it means is the vast majority of teaching staff, all the teachers throughout Burma are not well educated. But we have thousands and thousands of students over there. Actually, I visited one of the students where I educated. This is a class. When I was there, little school, little institution, only half the size of the parking lot in Stanford, only 2 buildings, 200 students, 10 MSc students, where I was one of them. Now they have 4,000 students, that institutes. And the regime have built a huge facility outside of Rangoon, far away from Rangoon, at least 1 hour trip, very hot, tough road. And these children doesn't have a proper educational facility or environment of teachers. So at the same time, the regime trying to pretend everything is going right in Burma. So they force this institution to even conduct established PhD programs. In this institution, there's 100 PhD students. In my mind, Burma is barely able to even educate undergraduate. So when I talk to them, for example, third year computer science student, she doesn't have a computer, laptop, she doesn't have a computer at home, she doesn't have an internet at home, she doesn't speak English, even she doesn't speak computer programming languages properly. And then they have some hours at the institute, few hours a day of that. So how they are going to be educated? Actually, 4 or 5 of my nephews and nieces, they are at computer science graduate, they are attending. And this institute is in Rangoon, but the regime actually opened so many institutes all over Burma. There's about more than 20 institutes, little tiny institutes. They can facilitate the staff, they can facilitate the equipment. So the future is very bleak. So these children are there so that they were left behind in this tide, in this flow. They're just going with the flow. They are only going to get a degree, but they are not going to be educated. So, but when the country is changing, the business are going in, there's a huge demand of skilled labor, skilled young people, but which are not going to happen unless we do something about drastically helping this education as much as we can. So this is the,